Welcome to Staring at the Lights. We're back.
We're back.
Yeah.
Starting the year off.
Little late, but you know.
Yeah, a bit later than what we wanted to.
Better late than never.
We're here. So we thought there's been a lot happening last year. We'll have a bit of a recap, month by month maybe. Get our views on it. Maybe a bit of a rating of what we thought that month was like.
Yeah.
And this comes from an article that you wrote, Tom, for RGM.press that you can check out.
It was painful to write, but it was it's good.
Yeah, Did it make you sad when you wrote it, when you went back to
like,
it? Because we've kind of not really. We've done a lot of these like watch along ones, not because it was easier, but we kind of all fell out of love a little bit.
Yeah, I think like there were
with each other.
Yeah, definitely. That's very much fine. We're all right. That's all good. But yeah, like going back over it, it kind of like I don't know. There was a lot of stuff where because when I started it, when the thing of writing it came about, I was kind of like, well, I mean, it'll probably be really easy because a lot of it was shit. So I can just slam it. But then as I was going back through it, I was coming across things where I was like, oh, that happened this year.
Yeah,
I thought, like 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's really, really weird. But it was more of a task than I originally anticipated. So it wasn't so much making me sad, just making me really angry. Like, oh yeah, sound, I've got May down, but oh shit, that happened to me. I have to go back and rewrite it. And then by the end of it, I was like, this is huge. I need to cut loads out. But then I found whatever I took out just took away from it. So I sent it over to them, and they were like, yeah, sound, we'll put it out, whatever, good to go. But yeah.
Let's start with January then. So January's always a good month for pay-per-views across sort of the two of the biggest brands in wrestling, in it with New Japan and WWE, because we always have the Rumble and Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, that, you know what? Like, that's not something I really like when I was writing it. That's not something I really realised until now. I was like, oh wait, yeah, January is a good month because you get a lot of good stuff coming out the back of December. I usually think of January as like, oh well, you know, Christmas is over, it's a bit shit. But then for wrestling, you're like, oh wait, it kind of started. Like it really does restart there. Even though I always associate the pay-per-view after Mania is the first one.
Yeah.
Really, the kickoff of the year is Royal Rumble.
Yeah, so it's like it feels like I think it's because of Wrestle Kingdom is kind of like the end of the season of New Japan, and then it all kind of starts again. Whereas obviously with WWE, it's kind of the Raw after Mania is the start of the next season.
Yeah, WWE is the only one that does that. Like AEW do that reset thing every year, don't they?
Yeah.
So like, and that's a calendar year, and it just makes sense to have that. But like, I mean, I suppose WWE do it. It's just not something I'd ever noticed before. But I mean, this Royal Rumble was pretty groundbreaking, wasn't it? Really, like because you had the men's Rumble take this back step, and now it's kind of like a real back step. Like I know it wasn't the first women's Rumble, was it? Like they had the one the year before.
Yeah, the other one the year before.
Yeah.
What was good about this one? I quite liked the venue it was at. It was at Chase Field, wasn't it?
Yeah, it had more of a WrestleMania feel, like than the average pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Which I think is important because that's
always good for me for like Rumble. And I know that a couple of years ago they had it at, in San Antonio at the Alamo Dome, and it's like 52,000. I think there was about 47,000 at last year's Rumble in was it in Kansas City? Was it? I can't remember where it was. It was in a baseball stadium.
Who
wasn't
won
it?
last year's Rumble? Was it? Who won it?
Seth Rollins won the men's one.
No, I mean like the year before.
The year before was Shinsuke.
Oh my god, yeah.
Nakamura won it.
That should have been a bigger deal.
That went well, didn't it?
I know.
God, they've like the one part you want to come out with is that like the whole article does really point out how lackluster the men's side of WWE's been. Yeah. It's just shit. There's like nothing pumped into it. There's nothing new. It's totally stale. Like you say with Seth winning it this time, what has he really done? Like he's probably like the Diesel of this generation. It's like it's good and everyone should like him, but there's just nothing that catches you about him.
What do you reckon to his new gimmick thing, like the Messiah thing? That he's doing?
I think it's too little, too late. Really, like it was. If they'd have kept the gas on that whole shit heel kind of set, like that's where he's stronger.
He is stronger.
He is a lot better. He's turned a corner.
Yeah,
but
it seems like they've tried to sort of save him in December when it should have been about August when they started.
Who's he got? AOP.
And AOP are mint as well.
Now he's got Buddy
Murphy
with him now. After all, I think they should just go full out religious thing and just give him like 12. Give him 12 disciples.
It's a good idea, actually.
Why not? Just give him like the full. See, they calls him wrestling Jesus, don't they? Like give him a full 12-man stable. And just let him like lead him into.
That'd be mint, and you could go down the route of chaos where you just keep having people adding to it, like the NWO, to the point where it just like everyone's like, this is gone too far now. But that's kind of where you want to go with it. At least have something that's interesting. Like you know, the last time I turned on WWE, whenever Seth was on the screen, I just skip past him. So I'm just like, you're
not interesting.
Great wrestler, just very boring.
Yeah, he is great. It's what they're writing for him, basically.
I think that what I did like about last year is I like the set. I like how it was like a really low sort of staging.
Yeah.
Obviously, that was because they were doing all that kind of augmented reality kind of stuff, which is good, and it's not going to go away. They do it at Mania all the time.
I mean, it sucks for the live crowd. But until they get that thing where the live crowd can like bang on some glasses or something and watch it happening in front of them.
But I mean, you can probably see it on the big screens.
Yeah,
you probably can see it on there. But
it
was quite. You say it was quite. Kind of groundbreaking in the sense of
Becky anyway. Like
Becky, it was.
She like it's the first time in a long time where the Rumble is crowned. Like I remember back in the day, like when in like the mid '90s, like early 2000s, if you won the Rumble, that was you being crowned as the next guy. You know, you've got your Chris Benoit's, your not to mention Chris Benoit straight off the bat, but Stone Cold Steve Austin, like they all their rise all started at the point where they've won the Rumble, and like. It was writing was on the wall for a winning, really. But
was she not meant to be in it?
She took Lacey Evans' place.
Lana's place.
Lana
got injured.
She just ran out.
And then Finlay came out and went, "Go on then."
Yeah, go and have
a go. You go.
And now then you're going to win it. It's crazy. And then there were the men's one where Nia Jax came out after beating up R-Truth
and Randy Orton beat the shit out of her.
Yeah,
I love that. That was so good.
I think that's what we kind of mean in groundbreaking in the sense of if you rewind 10, 12 years, there were women in the Rumble. Beth Phoenix was in it, Awesome Kong was in it.
There's always been.
Before that, you had like the Chinas and stuff like that. And there's always that like super athlete.
But this is the first time where they're kind of. But they've not really done anything with that since. It was the first time they've kind of gone, let's revisit this kind of vintage agenda thing and stuff. But then they've not done anything with it.
No, they really haven't. Which it was
a shame because it was like there's a taste of it. Everyone was into it. No one did it to like purposely bury Nia Jax or anything, and it kind of came out of it like, this could be all right, this could be quite good. And then it was almost like they were testing the water, and we all were like, that's good that, and then they would thought, well, you're not having any more of it, so
like if you were going to push anyone into having like competition with the men, Nia Jax was a good one to put in there, but I mean she's injured now, isn't she? So that would have been
I think she's on the way back now.
On
She's on the way back now. I think there's some videos of her training again.
That's good.
She's kind of coming back, but
it's good because like Nia Jax being in that Rumble, it was like the right person to do it. Like of all the women to do it, it was the right person.
It didn't feel like
it felt like it wasn't like forced almost
or gimmicky.
Or gimmicky. And I think the main reason for that was that Nia Jax isn't like most girls.
Yeah, that'll be why she isn't like most girls.
So I reckon that's.
I did fail to address that.
She did pretty well.
Yeah, I never thought of that angle.
But it's good. I like Rumble. It's my favourite pay-per-view of the big four ones.
Yeah, like I find like
I think it's because it's a surprise factor, but we don't really get it that much. This year we might do because it's only 2 weeks away, and there's only 17 people that are kind of at minute.
Yeah, I know Brock's in there, which is kind of like.
I'm interested to see what they do with that, especially because he's going to be number one.
Yeah,
they'll just dominate, won't they, the entire way through?
I mean,
there'll be a big surprise.
I just want it to be something which hooks me in for WrestleMania because I'm. Like getting to this time, running up to the Rumble, I'm burned out at that point. I'm like burned out with wrestling, and then the Rumble usually gets me back into it because it kind of resets everything. It's like, we've got a new champion in the hunt, we've got new things happening, and you're kind of like, right, cool. It's almost like the season's restarted again, and you're like, right, cool, I can reinvest. Yeah. Whereas as you're getting towards the Rumble, so like October, November, December, it's like that period for me. I'm always very I'm not really that into it at the moment.
Survivor Series always tries to kind of, and we'll touch on that later,
it's not been as good. Like we'll touch on Survivor Series in a bit.
It tries to bring you back round again, but it doesn't always deliver like it should do, or it used to do anyway. It doesn't do. Wrestle Kingdom was quite a big one. It was like the end of Omega's kind of dominance of New Japan. Obviously as he was moving into AEW, but
yeah, it's like, I mean, we've just gone past another Wrestle Kingdom, haven't we? Which, they've never been. I mean, they've been great, but they've never been quite the same as when Kenny and Okada were going back and forth. Like that felt like industry shaking. Yeah. And I think like the run Kenny had with the belt up until this point, you couldn't say it was anything but disappointing because it's like he's a natural underdog. He doesn't really. He's not a champion kind of guy. He's like, I don't think he's ever really been that guy who can swagger around with the belt. And,
not really.
No. So yeah, I mean, it writing were on the wall as soon as that came to an end. like everyone knew where he was going. It was already in the pipeline. And some people were like, oh, would he go to WWE? But I mean, really,
every year around the end of Wrestle Kingdom, you get someone,
the rumors,
and there's always someone tweeting Dave Meltzer saying, is Omega going to be in the Rumble? And he always kind of goes, oh, you never know, which is just him going, I've no idea. He might do, because I've been proved wrong countless times.
Yeah.
But I need to show that I know what I'm talking about.
I need to show that I'm at least still connected to the industry in some way before I say something racist and get blacklisted. But yeah, I mean, like other than that, like I didn't really cover too many of the other matches in there. And obviously it's Wrestle Kingdom, so they're just like a litany of like fantastic matches.
Yeah.
But I think that was the most important part, because that whole Kenny coming to an end was really the point where you were like, right, AEW are serious now. This is where we're going. They're poaching all the good talent. It's going to start to come to fruition soon. So that's kind of moving out of January.
Yeah, it was a solid 7 out of 10.
Yeah. Like I say, going out of 10 on each month. Like I'd say it started the year fairly strong. Like if you go back, you can probably listen to our episodes talking about it around about the time. And there was some good stuff going on.
Yeah, definitely.
Talking of kind of that point where it kind of dips a little bit, February kind of did a little, not much. Yeah, I can remember in a WWE sense there was the rise of sort of Jay White in New Japan.
Yeah,
which doesn't seem to have
didn't really go anywhere.
Lasted as long as it could have done.
I think when he won the belt off Tanner, like first defense, I thought like, oh, maybe they're really going to push him. Maybe he's going to be the guy who replaces Kenny. Like they already stuck him in the front of the Bullet Club. He's got a good look. He's a great worker, but you know, it's very similar to Seth Rollins. It's like if you don't have that magic, like you're not capturing the world stage. And I think a big part of that is like him not having someone like the Young Bucks because really Kenny is, he can thank the Young Bucks for why he's so popular. It's
I think what's not helped Jay White is, and obviously they were leaving before this and they've left for a reason because they all started AEW, but Young Bucks and Cody and Omega all kind of disbanding from Bullet Club. Has probably not helped Jay White much,
not really.
To be honest.
I think they expected him to be like the next big thing because like you think about how long it took Kenny to win the belt and then all of a sudden Jay White comes in and just wins it, and it's just like, I reckon they thought they were going to try and push like a whole he's the best ever. Yeah. And then they realised that he's just a bit boring, I think. Like he's alright.
Yeah, it's like you were saying in this article, Tom, there's just a bit of lack of definition to him, and there's nothing. He's great in the ring, and he's kind of he's on there. He's just not the full package, is he?
You look at Kenny and Kenny's own personal story. Ties in so easily to the story they were telling. Like, you know, he's been the product of criticism through his entire career, wrestling little girls and blow up dolls and stuff. And you know, he's wrestled everywhere. He's even been in the big companies, but he never quite made it. And everybody knew his skill level. And it's like before Steve Austin got his break or before Shawn Michaels got his break, like he very much was that prototypical intercontinental champion workhorse who would never reach the big time. And he was so vocal about his own frustrations and like so open about himself and like how he felt, and his promos and his presence carried over into his ring work and his stuff like that. But whereas Jay White's just kind of like, yeah, he's a shit hot wrestler from New Zealand, but like you've got to have something like, where's his struggle? Like where's his slant at?
Any, is there really?
Yeah,
none really.
I saw him wrestle against, I want to say Aussie Open, not Mark Davis, the other one.
Oh, Littleton.
Kyle Fletcher. I think I saw him wrestle him, and when he came out and like did his entire thing and wrestled, all I could think is that he was just like a really shit creator character.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. He's like, just like a creator wrestler.
And when he came out and he like did his whole entrance and stuff, and he's like wearing his like barbed wire red tight things, and I'm like, that looks like something I'd have made for like my character in like WWE or something like
100%.
And I was like, nah, he's alright.
I think you've hit a nail on the head there.
Yeah, definitely. One thing we did have in February as well, I think it was your reference nearly there, was Ospreay versus Pac.
I loved that match. And we were talking about it like because another podcast we won't name, they'd mentioned they'd done a one on Will Ospreay and Ricochet.
The best of Super Juniors.
Yeah, we were talking about it the other day, and it got me onto thinking about this match. And like for me, this is more my style of match, the Pac Ospreay match, because it's like both are equally as talented as, say, Ricochet, but Pac brings that extra dynamic of, like, you know what, especially because it was that bastard Pac run, and he's just like, the fans are expecting us to, like, you know, throw each other about and that. I'm just going to step on his fingers and bully him around for ages. And yeah, granted, it didn't shake the industry in any way, really. It was kind of like understated, and the fact it went to a time limit draw as well pissed people off, which I don't get because I love time limit
I don't mind
draws.
that. It kind of brings it makes the sport out of it, doesn't it?
But it depends on when you look at it, because wasn't he like was he the Dragon Gate champion at the time?
Neither of them could lose, so it was obvious.
Like, they didn't want to lose.
They were Dragon Gate are very protective over their title.
Very
protective.
Like, it's how it should be, but at that point, don't let your champion go and wrestle matches where he needs to lose for the story, but you can't because he's a title holder. Like,
absolutely.
It was a good match though, and again, like I really liked the Ricochet Ospreay match as well, even though it was fully like planned out to the movements. But
I hated
like,
it at first. That
wrestling's
match,
theatre, isn't it? Like, it is theatre.
It's
like,
what you want it to be.
I was thinking the other day, like when we went to Progress the other week, we watched Cara Noir's entrance. And it's like that is pure something you'd go and watch at, like, you'd go to like the West End and watch, like, it's Black Swan, innit? So like, that's what it is, but you'd go and watch that. And we were sat there, and I was thinking the other day, I'm not currently subscribed to Demand Progress, but I might buy it just to watch that entrance again.
To watch it again,
I couldn't believe how good it was.
It was
and
superb.
I was thinking, like, wrestling is theatre, so what's wrong with just like having one match in a year where you plan every single move out and like.
And Ricochet made that point around that as well, where he said, like, you know, you can get whatever you want out of it, and people can express it whatever they want. You don't have to watch it. Like, when it first happened, I was classic, like, you know, trolling his mum's basement, being like, this is shit, this isn't wrestling, this is awful. Like, I was like, I hope Vader kills the both of them, and like, but I'm just like, I didn't have to watch it, but then I did watch it, and I'm like, you know what? Once you get past that first flurry, like maybe like first 5-6 minutes where they're doing all that flipping stuff, they have a fantastic wrestling match, and that's why it's popular. But the problem is the only parts that get gift are when they're anime landed in front of each other. So you just hate without knowing, and it's like
there is that little bit as well where you just see Ospreay just go, grab my tights. Grab my tights.
There's a load of little things. But then again, like, was it the match with, I don't know who Ospreay fought in Wrestle Kingdom because I've not watched it yet. I want to say it was Tanahashi, but it might not have been
the latest one. I think it was Tanner.
I don't remember. Did you see that little spot that they did where, like?
Oh no, it was thingy with the cat, wasn't it? Takahashi, is that him?
Oh no,
the guy with the cat. The little
the cat's called Daryl, isn't it?
Daryl.
I know the name of the cat, but not the guy that carries it. That's ridiculous. But they did that whole like ridiculous, like, did you see it? The tope to the outside, and like jump back. He like did a jump back in the ring, and then it was just like crazy good. And again, because that's the only little bit that's going to get gift, everyone was just like overproduced bullshit. And all this. It's like, but actually, just watch the match first, and you might realise that it was actually pretty decent. Like, people just. Because that fucking like Lariato account, whatever it is, just tweets out the tiny little bits that are like gifable.
Hiromu Takahashi.
Just because he like tweets out the bits that are like gifable, everyone just assumes that match is just overproduced everything. And it's like, probably isn't. That's probably like 30 seconds out of a 15-minute match that was planned down to the T, like before they went out there. Just watch it first. I still think and then make your mind up.
Ospreay's hidden blade is fucking brutal.
Oh, it's ridiculous. He's he's arguably one of the top 5 wrestlers in the world. It's just his Twitter antics, which put a lot of people off. He's just rad. But you kind of like, he's at that point now where I'm kind of like, that's his character though, and I'm kind of at peace with it. I'm kind of like,
it's what it is.
It's quite funny.
Isn't it?
It's quite funny. Like,
just
let him be
Raj.
I laid into March. I was looking back on it and trying to find events that happened, and I was just like, it was just so dead. Like, there wasn't really anything going on.
So you gave 6 out of 10 for February.
For February, yeah.
Right. We also had the women's tag titles were unveiled as well for February, with Sasha and Bayley won at
they won at that elimination chamber match, which was just like, I mean, it was a botch fest. Let's be honest, but
it was, and I thought the two people who did quite well on that were Icon. I thought Peyton Royce and Billy Kay were.
Well, I wanted them to win. I remember watching it.
It made sense for them to win, which is probably why they didn't.
Because they're a legitimate tag team. But they were doing that.
That winds me up.
WWE do it all the time. They go, "We've got all these legitimate tag teams. Why can't tag wrestling get over? Big Show and Undertaker, you're a tag team now." It's like they don't need to be. No. It's like, stop doing it. Yeah. Stop doing it. It's pointless.
The thing is though, and it probably is the same really for Sasha Banks and Bayley, but Iconics don't need a title to be over.
They don't. Agreed.
but they're the logical
sense
for it to be that.
It's twofold with them too. They didn't know they didn't have a story for him.
No.
Because for whatever reason, WWE are terrified of
They've not been on TV for
They're terrified
ages.
of doing Sasha and Bayley. For whatever reason, those two, like, I know everyone talks about Charlotte and Becky Lynch, but Sasha and Bayley were the absolute best when it came to female rivalry that matched like Austin and Bret Hart. Their matches they were having at Takeovers.
Oh yeah, the Takeover one was unbelievable.
I immediately expected when they got called up, we'll just do it at WrestleMania, girls.
Yeah.
It'll be massive.
Yeah.
But they never have, and it's well, I mean, they've had matches, but they've never given that stage. They've never given the packages. Like they've never given the grand entrances to be like, it's all on the line. They hate each other.
Is Bayley still heel?
Yep.
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 Yeah,
they've slightly, about 6 weeks ago, they kind of teased this thing really subtly, and it was quite good because it took a few people to kind of pick up on it watching it back, where like Sasha kind of like taps the title, but Bayley's got it over her shoulder, and she kind of taps the title, and Bayley kind of looks at her and then rolls her eyes and gives her a bit of a side look, and people are like, oh, they could be.
Wouldn't it be nice if it did? It's probably just something they've done off the cuff.
I saw something
probably
quite funny about Bayley. The reason she wears the title like she does across like a strap across her shoulder is because the way her ring attire sets up, if she wore it around the middle, the B and the E would go in a line and it would say AEW. So that's the reason they make her wear the title across herself.
That's pretty
That's so good.
Because they think that, and because she wears kind of black and gold most of the time. They're petrified of someone pointing that out, aren't they?
That is so funny. But I mean, like, the Iconics eventually do win it. And to be honest, when I think of them titles, I think of them.
Yeah,
like,
it makes sense
I don't
for
even know
them to be
who's got them right now. Like, who's got them? Anyone know?
It's Asuka and Kairi Sane.
Oh, yeah.
Kabuki Warriors.
We'll get on to that.
I think the thing, just touching on Iconics a little bit, I think maybe one of the reasons that they've just not appeared much is, I don't know, maybe
Sean Spears.
Yeah, maybe they're burying Peyton Royce because she's married to Peyton.
I highly doubt it, but
I mean, that's
I don't
something
doubt it at all.
Something that Vince would do.
I think that's very much something they would do.
Yeah.
Get a divorce. You want those titles? Get a divorce.
Yeah, man. It's ruthless. It is ruthless. And I mean, those titles, they need to do more with them. They just seriously need to just go. It doesn't even have to be anything big. Just we put them on every pay-per-view.
Kairi Sane Warriors and Asuka. They need to drop them to someone in NXT, I think.
A legitimate tag team.
Yeah, they need to drop someone in NXT and then maybe have a pay-per-view match where someone from Raw wins and.
They need to put someone in charge of a tag. Like they should do it like I don't know, like American football. They should have someone in charge of tag division wrestling.
Yeah.
This is your time slot. You're in charge of tag division wrestling. Yeah. Someone in charge of singles division. Someone in charge of like special division, which is like all
and
the
not necessarily
matches.
Maybe not necessarily like a on TV tag team commissioner, but just someone who is.
That's your wheelhouse.
Tag teams.
Like even someone who has been a tag team wrestler and knows how to build up. I mean, X-Pac's been in a tag team with everyone. Put that guy in there. A guy who knows how to build chemistry, make legitimate looking teams. Like when you think we grew up with like Edge and Christian, the Dudley Boys, and the Hardy Boys.
The best.
Christian and Matt Hardy should run it.
Bring someone in like Christian.
Matt Hardy.
He's going to retire from the ring. He pretty much has done.
He's a genius. He would be perfect to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
But I don't know. It'd be great to see at some point, but they just need a reshuffle.
Yeah, they do.
I'm just having a look here.
March was pretty.
March. I mean, like
terrible.
Corbin, Lashley, Drew McIntyre, that kind of stuff. It was very much that like, oh, we're going to have a pay-per-view with a random name, have a 3-on-3 that we'd normally see on Raw.
Was it Stomping Grounds, this one?
Or some crap like that.
March?
And like, honestly, I was going through the events and the stuff that were on at that time, and there was just nothing worth commenting on. And I'm like, it's so easy for like the company and the business to lose people's interest when you have a full month where nothing's happening. It's ridiculous. But
to it.
2 out of 10, dog shit.
Yeah, really poor.
April's where we really started to kind of move up a gear, and that's kind of like, I think the kind of like spring summertime of 2019 is where you kind of see things starting to shake up.
People start moving, don't they, in this time, and it's a bit like the I think it's the second day of the Masters in golf. They call it moving day,
right?
Where it's when the field starts to shake up and people start to. Like the naturally good players start to rise to the top of the leaderboard, and it all kind of starts to balance itself out a bit of it. And April is a bit like sort of moving month in wrestling. Really, people
start to see it come through.
Start to like,
right.
This person's making a bit of a name, so they start to kind of get that push and stuff. But,
I just kicked it off by talking about Takeover.
The Pete Dunne and Walter match was amazing.
Just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And like I mean, it probably means more to us than it would have an American audience seeing. Because I mean, and not just more to us because we've seen those two blokes grow, and especially Pete.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like Pete is almost, if you're going to say anybody's single-handedly responsible, which is impossible, but if it would be anybody for the rise in UK wrestling,
Pete.
it's Pete.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, he did so much for the sport over here, and he's done so much for so many people he works with. Like without him, there's a chance that a lot of them wouldn't have jobs.
Probably not.
Like it's crazy to think, but he's done such a good job of like boosting the prestige of British wrestling.
It's mad with the sort of the UK title that we're into the 4th year now of it.
And he's like, in my head, he's still the champion.
There's only been 3 champions, and we're into the 4th year of it. And Tyler didn't have it very long at all, did he?
Hardly long at all.
Yeah, I liked the match. The match was good. I didn't like the finish.
I don't like that splash. It didn't work for me. That
really good match. Really good match. They did it right. Like they gave Pete a little bit of offense, but they needed to build Walter as that just absolute.
Walter's debut at that takeover in Blackpool was so perfectly done.
Yeah.
We worried about Walter because of what Vince would react to with him with his look, because you know what Vince is like. He'd just be like, put him in a nappy or something. Do you know what I mean? But thank God that's what they needed to do. They needed to have Walter be that dominant, like scary force that he was. Yeah. And like I said, the finish was, it did leave much of
it was a main event WWE finish. This big guy has to hit this big move, doesn't he? Really?
Yeah.
It was good. It was all right.
And he probably couldn't have done like a sort of last ride style power bomb because they'd been like, that's Taker's thing.
Yeah, you do struggle, and you've got to figure out, I mean, it's weird. Sometimes I look at it, I kind of like it as it's a nod to like the King Kong Bundys and the earthquakes and stuff. Yeah. But then also you kind of like, I feel like Walter's a bit too good for that.
Yeah, it's too athletic to be that kind of big man.
Yeah, absolutely.
We also had the Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano.
They come up a lot. Like they have a pretty much like with Ciampa being injured and a few guys maybe not being quite ready for the title. Yeah. These guys really carried the title picture of NXT through the summer, and all their matches were fantastic. I really had a hard time remembering which one was which when I was talking about them.
I couldn't tell you which one.
They're all so similar, and they're great. And like I tried to fit in watching them all, but I just kind of went back and watched recaps of them all, and just solid work throughout.
They were wicked.
They didn't have the
far
same.
Far too many kickouts.
Far too many. Yeah, far too many. They didn't have the same character dynamic as say like Gargano, Ciampa, or there wasn't that background. But
this was the first one that I know we don't really take them too seriously, but Meltzer gave this a 5.25 as well. This match, and then he goes on to give WWE another similar rating later on in the year. But I think that was a real kind of like.
He's a madman. He's lost his mind.
It was a good match. Yeah, there was. I think you didn't. Did you not like the finish of one of them again with the last call? Was it or last shot?
I don't remember. I know the first one, the 2 out of 3 falls, they got gassed really early.
Yeah,
they did. Yeah,
to like kind themselves through it. It was a good match. The second one, which one was that one? That was Gargano retained in that one, didn't he?
Yeah.
And that one was just Gargano kicking out of every finisher under the sun, including all of them.
Did he kick out the Panama Sunrise?
Yeah, I think so.
Something ridiculous. Like even the last shot should be so protected.
Of course it should.
It's such a brutal finishing move. Panama Sunrise should be like the avalanche attitude adjustment. Like it should be only used when you like die straight. It's like
one of the best in the business.
Unbelievable.
Like the Burning Hammer they used about 6 times or something.
He just kept kicking out because he's like that's his character, is his arm.
I'll be honest. I don't like him. I don't enjoy him. I can see he's a good wrestler.
Gargano.
I don't enjoy him. I do not enjoy him. I'd rather sub him in for anyone. I'd sub him in for Finn Balor. I'd sub him in for Tyler Bate. There's some. I
think I'm a bit fed
up. It's the nerd thing. I don't like.
A bit bored of the nerd underdog.
Like I like Iron Man, but I like Marvel films.
The second match, he was the champion, so he's not the underdog anymore. Like you can't be the underdog and have the title.
He still wrestles like it.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So like when he just kept kicking out of everything, I'm just thinking this is stupid. Third one I really liked because Adam Cole won, and Adam Cole is probably the best they've got right now in that business. So but I don't remember. I couldn't distinguish any of them 3 matches.
I really struggled, and I even like when I submitted the article, I was like, did I put them in the right order? And then I went, you know what? I don't care. I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter. And I'm like, if somebody picks it out, it means they've read it, and I'm all right. I'm happy with that.
True. Good month though.
But yeah, it was solid. And then you had Okada winning the IWGP title back, which
Yeah.
for me, I mean, it makes sense because he should be the final boss. I look at New Japan like Tekken,
Yeah.
and you think he's
yeah.
the one. Do you want to fight at the end? What was it? Was it Moshimitsu, the guy at the end of
I don't
Tekken
remember.
or something like that?
I know, Street Fighter was M Bison.
Yeah, he's like Akuma. He's like the secret boss, and it's like
Who's the guy in Mortal Kombat?
boss in Shao
Mortal
Kahn.
Kombat.
There's
Yeah,
Shao
Shao
Kahn,
Kahn.
and there's
He is the Shao Kahn of.
Shang Tsung.
He is the Shao Kahn of IWGP.
Yeah, I mean, it beat the shit out of Jay White. Like,
Yeah, I reckon they just put the belt on White and thought, "Here we go," and then realised he was a bit meh. And they were
No,
right, just give
like
him
you
back
say
to
in this
Okada.
article, Tom, it's just them trying to get back to Okada being
yeah.
Just
the
give it
one.
him.
And
They tried it and were like,
Yeah.
They
It's
sold out
not
MSG on that card as well, which
Yeah,
is
they did.
which
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
amazing.
Is that the one with Ring of Honor as well?
Yeah, so it was a Ring of Honor IWGP Super card.
Because one of the lads from I can't remember what it is. Royal Rumble. One of the lads from the podcast from
Royal
Sheffield.
Grumble or
Royal
something.
Grumble,
Was it
I
that?
think.
Something like that,
They
yeah.
went to it
Oh, amazing.
because it was the night before
Yeah.
Mania, weren't it?
Sick.
And they went to it and said the New Japan stuff was mint. The Ring of Honor stuff was
Ring
just
of Honor's in
shit.
a shit place, and it's
And
pretty
then-
much why they don't get talked about on
Yeah.
this list. Because if you'd have done this list 10 years ago, you could probably guarantee it would have been Ring of Honor.
Because
heavy,
even the
but
Enzo and Kaz kind of running thing.
I mean, I love that because I'm a massive Enzo mark. Like, genuinely love the guy. But
It just thing is though with that it
went tits up.
it just turned into a shit show.
Yeah.
And it can be worked to a point where only this right people need to know.
Was it the same night as the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, because that guy
That
ran the
guy
Hall of
jumped
Fame.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Just like that one overshadowed our and he ran massively.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I wonder if that was a work.
No, that kid who went for Bret
the
Hart
thing
was an
is,
actual psycho.
Enzo and
He was a
Cass
nutter.
claim that the only people who knew they were running in, like they thought the wrestlers were smartened up and they
Yeah,
weren't.
they
The only
weren't.
people who knew was them
And Bully Ray.
and Bully Ray,
Yeah.
and the wrestlers weren't smartened
Yeah.
up, and they just started hitting him. And
But I
like,
wonder if like WWE got word of that and were like,
Maybe.
letting them
You never know.
overshadow us and just like got some random kid and were like, we'll give you a few grand, just take a punch off British Bulldog or something, just go in
just
and
didn't tell him. Just went, yeah, we're not going to tell Brett because we don't like him anyway. So just chin him.
Maybe
If-
Really hurt
that's the
him.
conspiracy.
Really hurt the guy.
That's
That
the
was
conspiracy.
that was mental. That was fucking awful to see.
It was brilliant. Put that, I'd bump that up a point for that month because that happened. That was.
I'll put it on a 9, which I'm happy to. Non-W.
Yeah, we had Mania as well at
yeah,
I don't know what happened
at MetLife, and it,
yeah. Becky,
Oh,
2 belts.
Becky,
It was
Becky,
just
2
them trying to
belts.
do the Daniel Bryan thing again
Yeah.
with Becky, but I know.
it would have been better that if it weren't such a. I mean, I guess the ending was make Ronda Rousey still look strong and look like she was cheated out of it, but
The point
it just
I
didn't
looked at
work
it,
very
I looked
well.
at it in the way of
Just
like
shit.
a couple of years from now, would there be any other women's match you could put on there that would have worked? And I don't know if
Probably
there is.
not.
No, probably wouldn't have done. Probably wouldn't have
'Cause
done.
I don't think
on the
any-
night, I watched it and I
Yeah.
was like, when it finished, I was like, yeah, we're all right.
I felt
Not
deflated.
too bad. I
Yeah.
didn't feel deflated. I didn't feel good.
I
but
felt
I
a
didn't
bit
feel bad. I
deflated
was just
from
like, it is.
Yeah.
Fair enough. She's won. I'm happy for her. Now, thinking back, it was just shit. And I feel like I felt like I had to like it because it was the first women's main event and like
You do, and I mean,
I'd
like,
be called like a sexist, racist pig if
Yeah,
I didn't
I
or
mean-
something like that. I was just like, I don't.
I'll
it just
admit,
weren't-
it's
objectively, it just weren't very good.
it's fine to say you don't enjoy women's wrestling as much as you enjoy male wrestling. It's fine to say it. It is absolutely fine. If you don't, you don't. It's not saying it's bad. It's just not to my taste. It's like the Ricochet Ospreay thing. It's not to my taste.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch a revival match.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd rather watch
yeah.
I'd rather watch NWA Power with someone holding a headlock and doing a couple of elbow drops because that's what I like about wrestling. But
Exactly.
it's all each their own. Some people are massive Becky Lynch fans, and to them that was their Daniel Bryan moment.
Yeah.
To me, it did feel like
Yeah, which is fair enough.
if it weren't Becky Lynch, they'd have tried to do it with Roman again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
But
true.
It's a lesser of two evils, isn't it? I'd take the finish that we got over Roman winning again.
Yeah.
Like,
there
definitely.
should have been Batista
Mania-
Triple H in the main event. I
as
love that.
Mania
It was such a
went,
good match.
It was
as the Mania
ridiculous.
goes, it was pretty good. I thought it was better than the year before in New
Yeah.
Orleans.
I
liked the fact that Brock went out first,
Yeah.
and they just apparently that was like literally last minute, like because when Hogan's posing on the ramp with Alexa Bliss,
Oh, right,
and
good
Paul
that.
Heyman just strolls out.
Right,
Apparently
good.
Hogan was like, "What's going on? I don't know what's
What's
happening."
happening, brother?
Because
I
they
was
literally
They're
just
coming
like,
to get me, brother.
we're going on
They're
now.
coming to get me again.
I was thinking about it like Mania the other week, and it always when I watch it live, the first few matches are always mint, and I love them.
Yeah.
And then the very last match, I just hate it no matter what, even if it's the best
Yeah.
match in the world, because I'm fucking knackered.
Oh, exactly.
I'm just so tired.
My favourite point in Mania is the first match after the sun's gone down.
Yeah.
That's the best point in Mania,
like,
because Mania starts there.
You're still awake.
It starts
and you're, like,
there.
Still not too tired.
Yeah.
You're happy and you're buzzing. You're excited. And then like even if you give me fucking like take a Triple H Hell in a Cell, put that last.
Anything.
Yeah.
If I've been up for 12, 13 hours, even though that match is like one of the best of all time, I feel like I'd go to sleep thinking, oh, a bit shit that.
The last WrestleMania main event I remember watching and genuinely enjoying, and then being so wide awake at the end of it, was probably WrestleMania 20 with Chris Benoit, Shawn Michaels, like the triple threat match, like that. To me, I remember being afterwards, just being like, because Eddie Guerrero was in the ring with him, and I'm like so buzzing. Years later, you look back at it and go, oh.
On Edge and Christian's podcast after Mania, they said we were watching they were talking to somebody, and they said we were watching the main event, and then someone said, "Oh, that Battle Royal was good yesterday, weren't it? The Andre the Giant Battle Royal." It was like and they were like, "God, fucking hell, yeah, it's gone midnight in New York. It's gone midnight, and we're still on." And they were like, "It's literally we've had a 2-day Mania."
Crazy.
Yeah.
Not in obviously the actual hour sense, but in the sense of it being so long. It's
Wrestle Kingdom's over 2 days, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And I mean,
but
how long before
how
long before WrestleMania starts just going, well, it's like a festival, we'll have 3 days, we'll have a headline act on each one, we'll have a women's headline act, we'll have a
they're getting to that now. If you look at the listing for last year's Survivor Series, it was advertised as being over 4 days.
Yeah, but it already is. You've got Takeover the night before.
You've got the podcast
Mania,
festivals. You've got all sorts.
Well, it's because the way that the schedules all work now is you've got the Friday before, you've got the Takeover on the Saturday, the main show on the Sunday, and then the Raw after.
That's what I mean.
And they sell it as like it's a 4-day thing.
By the time you get to that last match,
it's basically a festival, isn't it?
You've got to hate wrestling.
Yeah.
By the time you get to that last match, you're like,
if you've been to every one of those shows,
if you were there in person, I think it's a bit different. I think
you'd have that rush, wouldn't you?
Maybe, but I think by halfway,
when you're at home,
if I've been to the Friday SmackDown, the Saturday Takeover, halfway through the Sunday one, I'd be like, I just want to go home. I'm tight. I just want to go home. I'm done.
But some people do though. I know. I met him at the Manchester Raw show. He's been to a few Manias, and he said like one that he went to. I can't remember which one he went on about, but he just said he was just that worn out from it all.
Yeah.
That like a quarter or halfway through the Mania, he just left. He just went and like went into the town. I think it might be New Orleans, and just went into the town and just like had a drink and had some food, and just like it was quiet because nobody were around. And he said it was the best day of the entire weekend.
I've done that with gigs, you know, like and usually festivals. I'll get to day 3 of a festival, and even if a big headline man like act I want to see is on the Sunday, I'll usually leave early and just be like, I feel like I've got my fill, and there's nothing wrong with leaving when you feel like you want to leave.
Oh no, never.
But 4 days of wrestling, man, I guarantee you I'd be out of there.
I probably wouldn't. But like, there's the thing
like,
in it. Like, if I went on my own, I'd be like, I'd stay and watch
I'd do it smart. I wouldn't do the Raw and SmackDown running up to it.
I'd do the Raw because the Raw are always
the Raw afterwards.
The Raw after.
The Raw after.
I wouldn't do the go home SmackDown.
I wouldn't do the SmackDown. I'd
probably do Takeover Mania, and then I wouldn't do a go home. Sure.
But then again, the thing is though, like now with indie wrestling, the week around it.
It is a festival
of like every company in the fucking world goes to that state. Like so, like
it's like South by Southwest.
Yeah, some people like watch like
take over the city
over like 20 hours of wrestling in a 4-day period, and it's just like that's mental. Like another guy that I met at Progress called Mike, he's just been to Wrestle Kingdom, but he went to Mania a couple of years ago, and I think he said like there were some days that he'd be getting up at like 9 a.m. get into a venue for 10:30. A show would start at 11. It'd be 3 hours long. He'd go and get something to eat and then be in for the afternoon show by a different company. And it's just like 4 days of that, plus Takeover, plus Mania, plus your Raw.
It's a lot.
It's like, it's so much wrestling. And like I say, if I went on my own, I'd probably just sit through it and watch it because you'd be on your own. But if you like went with your lads and stuff like that, or a few of your mates, if you got to like halfway through Mania and it's a bit shit, you'd just be like, should we just go and get pissed?
Just go out on the pee, watch it on the screen.
Because
it'll be in every bar you go
to. Let's just go and get pissed in a bar and watch it. Like I probably would.
Yeah.
One thing we did see at last year's WrestleMania that we're not put down here is Dr. Thugonomics.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. That was really good. That was really good.
Babe Ruth like video before.
That was mint.
And I couldn't figure out
I didn't know what was happening.
I
didn't know what was happening at all.
Oh mate, I forgot about that. There's like Mania. You always look back at it and go, "Oh, I forgot." Like because it's so long.
It's just too much.
It's so fucking long.
Like the Batista Triple H match was okay.
I really enjoyed it.
Brilliant.
Because again, I'm a mark, and it's like it's those things where
I like the staging. I liked how it's just a massive screen. I thought that works really well.
Yeah. Saw Kurt Angle's last match as well.
Yeah.
Which passable.
Yeah.
And then they're both going to do the old. Well, Batista's doing the old Hall of Fame this year, isn't he? So
yeah, it's good.
Good. 8 out of 10. I gave that one anyway. May, a little bit of a drop.
It always is though, and it's you've had such a, if it's done well, such a high from Mania.
Yeah.
And the Raw afterwards as well, which is normally the maddest one, where you see all the cool surprises or returns or stuff like last year, where Undertaker came back and interrupted Elias, and it was all pretty cool and everything. It was all set up really well. But I think it is just me, like, I just need a bit of time off. That's the perfect time for them to not have anything on in that month and just start again in June.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. I mean, I probably I gave this month a 5, probably only because of that kind of like, in comparison, it just doesn't feel like there's anything going on. I mean, you did have a couple of things. You'd see Dean Ambrose coming to an end with WWE, and that was kind of it was a bit of a simmer in terms of excitement. Like, people were like, maybe he'll do something cool, or maybe he'll just do a CM Punk and just disappear off and do a few moves.
I think knowing what we kind of knew afterwards, and when we'll get to it, when he came in at AEW and the podcast that he then did afterwards with Jericho, I think kind of knowing what we know now, it was like, he really fucked WWE over, didn't he?
It's interesting to go back and watch it, because he played the long con.
He did.
He literally played the long con, and that's the most interesting part about it, because you go and watch him.
He beat him, didn't he? It's like, no one's ever done that before.
No.
He said in that interview where he's talking about Vegas, specifically referencing Vegas, even though that whole thing was about gambling in Vegas.
And he said something like, "Well, you play your cards right."
I've walked into the casino and I've left and I've broke the bank, and it's just like, it's insane.
There was a story he said where he was
cashing in my chips and I'm going
making
home.
that little video where he's kind of breaking out of the jail cell kind of vignette he made.
Yeah.
And Vince McMahon rang him and he's like, "What are you doing when
lying,
you talk?"
and
he just went, "I'm making a film." He's like, "I'm not lying. I am doing it. It's only 30 seconds long, but I'm making a film."
It's great.
Sick Nick Rondo made that.
Yeah, he did.
He did. Yeah, what a boy.
Yeah, and you think about like the people that have left WWE or like left on bad terms. No one's ever done it without getting buried to high heaven. And he did kind of get buried a little bit.
He did a little bit. They did loads of stuff with him in EC3.
Nia Jax.
He went through some shitty storylines, but I think that was just more of him going, like, them asking him to do it and him going, all right, like, I don't care, I'm going anyway. So.
He got paid $500 for that Shield special as well.
Crazy.
Just a normal appearance.
Normal, and it was all about him.
Yeah.
And I went back and I watched that. Like, I didn't watch the whole thing. Like I say again, I watched it just like snippets of it, and like I feel like Seth and Roman said they didn't know what he was going to do. I feel like they're just top boys, and they're just like, we didn't know, and it's one of them things like with your boys where, you know, if you did something wrong at work or something, you'd be like, I don't know what you're on about.
Yeah.
It's like it's you know, they're all, you know, they know how things work.
Yeah.
It must be nice for them to see him doing well.
Yeah, sure it is.
Apparently he's getting paid more than he was paid in WWE.
Well, probably will be.
A lot of them are.
They
get healthcare and stuff. And
it's all merch and stuff as well, isn't it?
And
he's doing New Japan and he's doing AEW, and he's wrestling Josh Barnett at Bloodsport next year, something like that. Like, he's doing loads of stuff.
So he's got a feud coming up with what's he called? Old fella from New Japan.
Oh, Anita.
No, is it
Suzuki?
Anita? Suzuki, yeah, Suzuki. He came out at the end of his match at Wrestle Kingdom, and he's just like, that's going to be.
I think he
took his gear off, didn't he? Like, took his tracksuit off and went for him.
Quality. Super Strong Style 16.
Yeah, like you saying here, like the UK scene did take a bit of a hit with.
Oh yeah, you can even feel it now.
Right,
you can still feel it now. Like it's
OTT really took hits from that as well.
Everyone took hits, mate.
Yeah.
NXT UK just killed them all off, didn't it? Pretty much.
I mean, Super Strong Style 16 to me was them just kind of trying to patch things up to get in line to move on.
Yeah, but again, it didn't make sense because
they had some good talent in that though. Darby Allin was in Super Strong Style.
Oh no, they had some mint talent, but they didn't use any of them. Like who won it? David Starr.
Yeah.
Like, why?
We all knew that was going to happen.
We knew it was going to happen, but if I'm Progress,
and I think but
we're never going to have the King of the Independent beat bloody Walter for his title.
No, we knew it was going to happen because we knew that they weren't going to. The way that the other guys are contracted to WWE and whoever else, we knew that's the only logical path for them to go down is to give it Star.
It is, but if you've just had almost all of your talent bought up by NXT UK, just give it to some new kid. Just like put some new kid in the fucking win it.
I mentioned on here about Chapter 100, and I think what they're trying to do is bleed this out till Chapter 100 and then start fresh. I really think they're just going to have like a. This is Progress 1 to 100. Snip. This is completely different. I think they'll rebrand it. I think the whole punk rock thing will get put to one side. They have to do a full overhaul.
Because now David Starr's leaving, isn't he?
Yeah. It's all.
What, he's not doing Progress.
I don't know. Like when he finished
yeah.
his match at Thingy, he like waved to the crowd, and then he tweeted saying like, "I'm gonna miss this place," something like that.
Really, I didn't know.
And then loads of people were like tweeting saying, "Please don't go," and all this stuff. I don't know where he's going because he's independent. So I don't know where he's gonna be, but it's just like I don't understand it.
It makes sense that with Progress, especially obviously with we'll probably get to it with Jim leaving and.
Thing is, if he went to work for AEW, he could still claim he was independent.
Oh yeah, he could.
Because that's
it
what.
just doesn't make sense. So like, why would you have somebody win your main tournament of the year to then lose the title match that they've won it for? Like, it's like the Rumble. I never get why the person that wins the Rumble, if they don't win the main event at Mania, it's like, well, what was the point? What was the point of that entire thing?
Yeah.
Like, I know it's a bit like obvious.
You don't want him to win every time, but
you don't want him to win every time. But like, if somebody wins, if like when Shinsuke won, and it's like he's done it, like it's amazing. His new guy has won the Rumble. Yeah. Like, let him win the main.
And then he wins
the
Rumble, and they put his match on for his title shot in the middle of the card.
Yeah, it's a main event shot.
And it's just like, are you taking the actual?
It's a main event shot,
and really watered down that main event.
And when he comes in the middle of the show, you know full well that he's not going to win because it's not the main event. He's not going to go home. Like, it's just it doesn't make any sense. I don't know. It winds me up.
Absolutely. But yeah, through to June and like
a 5 out of 10 for me.
5 out of 10, which is purely like I don't think. You know, it's not like
nothing bad, nothing good.
It's not like them Barstool Pizza reviews. I'm not like I've not got an exact science. It's just like how that month felt like, and it was definitely impacted by the month prior to it. Yeah. Where the month prior to it, it felt like they were building that steam up. It was just a slight little kind of dip before we got into
It's
June.
the off season, isn't it? It's that unintentional off season.
Absolutely, and
it feels like you're having loads of friendly matches.
Yeah. To quote JR. Business picked up in June, so this is
where we're at. It very much did, yeah.
So Brock obviously
winning Money in the Bank.
Yeah, jumps to the place of Sami Zayn and wins Money in the Bank, which is mad.
Like, I enjoyed that because it
pissed me off.
You hated
so many people off. That's what I liked.
Yeah, Mustafa Ali's on the top of the thing, holding onto the cage.
Yeah,
just unclip it.
Yeah, just
what
unclip the fucking thing.
He's like staring at Brock walking down the ramp, and it's like. Just
unclip it and let him kill you.
Unclip it and run away. Yeah. Do something. This makes no sense.
He should have kind of like struggled with it and fell off the ladder. I don't know, something.
Just stared at him.
Yeah. It's just basic psychology, isn't it?
I'm not against Brock winning.
Basic psychology.
I'm not against Brock winning it.
Yeah.
I'm just, why did he just hold on to it and look at him?
I'll tell you what I am against. And we've spoke about it already. People just getting put into matches as if that's a rule.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have rules, you don't have a sport or a fake sport.
Becky, innit? Like, it's
Becky bullshit.
They
should have had it so earlier in the pay per view, Sami Zayn's injured.
Yeah,
we are going to appoint a replacement instead of just the music hits.
Yeah.
They should just go. We're going to appoint a replacement, and then that
camera
happens.
cuts to Sami Zayn in a heap outside,
and he turned up in the last second.
Yeah, you have to enter the match.
The bell rang.
If you're
not at the start of the match, so surely you're not in the match.
Yeah,
like,
no.
What?
100%.
It doesn't make any sense.
100%. But still, I was glad he won it.
I enjoyed it.
It was funny watching the internet blow up. Like, why do they always give it to Brock? And it's just like,
that Brock got it.
until someone comes along who's moreover,
it wasn't the person,
a better wrestler, harder than Brock, he deserves to be the champion permanently.
Yeah, exactly. I think to your point, Ethan, it's not the person, it's the situation that
it's
it
a
was
shit
happening.
Situation.
Like, I like Brock. I love Brock.
Yeah,
I love
great.
Brock holding everything. Like, but just the entire thing just wound me up. It's so stupid.
Same night, Becky 2 belts gimmick came to an end. So she lost the SmackDown title to Bayley.
Well, that's about 6 weeks, isn't it? That?
Yeah, which was good because it was getting a bit.
Yeah, but it's just still fucking pointless. Why do the entire build-up? Mania finishes with her holding both of them.
I don't think
6 weeks later to lose it. It's just like,
it's
why?
a bit pointless.
I don't think she's defended the Raw Women's title, Becky Lynch, since September.
I've not watched it.
Which is
they need to
stupid
do that thing.
because
it should be part of the story unless you defend your title.
If you don't defend it in 30 days,
they use it when they want to.
Exactly.
And that's what annoys me.
When Naomi got injured, when she won her, when she won it,
they forced her to vacate
when she had to vacate because she was injured, and it wasn't a massive injury. She was back about 3 weeks later.
But I think this should be. When they're doing Becky's story, this is how they should play it. Like the person coming in against her should be like, "You're clearly on the side of the man." Like they call you the man because you're in the pocket of the man.
Yeah.
It's like you never defend this title. You walk around like you're hot shit. You never have a challenging match against anyone. You hide in tag matches like that. And she should turn heel because of it.
Yeah.
She should go full Conor McGregor. Just like all she's doing is just media appearances and bullshitting people. Because she's turned into a dickhead.
She can do it because she can talk.
She can
do it.
And I think it'd be really good. Like I think that's the way they should go with it. But they won't. They'll just have some fucking randomer come out and I don't know.
I quite like Money in the Bank. I think it was
good.
It's a good sort of second tier, probably the top second tier pay per view.
Yeah, because it's framed around a good match type that makes sense. It's like when they have
and it
elimination
sets
chamber.
things up and it adds a threat to.
Elimination
I don't like it
chamber
when they
should
cash
be a
in the
match
same night.
that can be used at any pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So they shouldn't like Money in the Bank. I liked it at WrestleMania. It's better as its own pay-per-view because you know it's like Rumble. You win a title shot, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Elimination Chamber shouldn't be an event. Hell in a Cell shouldn't be an event. You should just have that.
It should just be a match.
It's Backlash. We're doing Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Then it's like, oh shit, we're doing Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Everyone get ready. And it's
Yeah.
like, but it's just predictable shit.
Yeah.
It's very
predictable shit.
I do like Money in the Bank because it's if done right, it's a good sort of threat to the storyline.
100%. It's
built
disruptive.
right.
But
What I don't like is when they cash it in the
too
next
early.
match. Yeah.
I mean, this was cashed in on the same night.
Yeah.
Bailey
And the year
cashed
before
hers
they
in.
did that as well.
They
The year
keep
before.
doing it. It's
Was
like
it,
you don't need a plan for it.
No.
Don't blow your load straight away. Sometimes that money. In fact, almost the first 5 Money in the Bank title holders or Money in the Bank holders were really interesting and really integral
Yeah.
because they were like little weasels and they'd come in and they'd be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get you."
Yeah, because it was
It's
like
great.
Yeah,
Maybe it's because there's too much of a gap between top card and mid card.
Maybe.
There's no one really believable in there that you could think, yeah, this guy, Bobby Lashley might win it and he could be
Yeah.
a threat. When everyone's like, I'm fucking sick
No.
of what you've
I
ruined
don't
him.
know. The entire thing.
Drew
just-
McIntyre, Bobby Lashley,
Yeah.
Braun Strowman, all mid card bollocks, like
But
useless.
it's like
just
again, like Money in the Bank. I love it. And it's a great match and it's
Yeah.
great fun. But logically, it doesn't make sense when the winners challenge for like the undercard title.
No.
Like if you won a shot, if you're like a mid card wrestler and you're not going to see the main event picture and you won the Money in the Bank, why would you challenge for like the Intercontinental? Why would you use
Why
it?
would
Why would
you?
you cash in on the Intercontinental? Cash in on world like they either the Universal or the WWE Championship after the match, after somebody's got the shit kicked out of them.
use,
Like it's
use
a
it
perfect excuse to get someone that's on the mid card into the main title
Yeah.
picture. Like I don't
and
know,
make
just
it
like
part of
logically,
you as well. Like
They
Seth
can do it,
was a
but-
good Mr. Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
He was a
the
lot
pop.
like Edge. He was a
That
lot
pop,
like
what he
Yeah.
got for when he came out of that Mania in San
Oh,
Francisco,
it was
I
the
think
best.
was brilliant.
It was
Yeah,
amazing.
It was the best. But he was already like a main event man, so like it made sense.
Yeah.
But imagine how much better that would have been if like I don't know, like Sami Zayn or someone had won Money in the Bank and he like ran
You
out
can't-
like, in the
Yeah.
last second.
Problem
You'd be
you've
like,
got
holy
is-
shit, what is going on?
You can't build the talent from people who are already tainted by being stuck in the mid card. You need to be looking at put the Undisputed Era in there and have like Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish and have
I
Adam
can
Cole,
guarantee-
have them all in together,
Yeah.
and then Kyle O'Reilly wins it, and you're
Nah.
like, oh shit! Suddenly
Yeah.
he's at the top of the card out of
Yeah.
nowhere, and you can't do anything but accept it.
Yeah.
He's a top card
I'd
guy,
be-
like
I'd
young
be-
Randy Orton.
Yeah.
I'd be all
Like-
for that, but it won't happen. I can guarantee
Yeah.
you what'll happen whenever. I don't know how long it's going to be when they get called up, but I guarantee when they get called up, Adam Cole will win the Money in the Bank,
The other two will just
and they
become
they'll
tag
stay
wrestlers.
together, and he'll cash in by the Undisputed Era like running in and beating the shit out of whoever the champion
Yep.
is, and
Yeah.
then he'll cash it in and win it, and I guarantee that'll happen. And I can't
then-
wait. I can't wait.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
That. I
Roderick
can't
Strong
wait
will be
for, like-
24/7 champion.
Yeah, Roddy Strong will win something. Kyle O'Reilly, like, give him, like, pull a shield, like when he won the shield,
Yeah.
he had the tag belts, the United
US
States Championship and
Yeah.
the World
They did
Championship.
it right with the Shield. They
Like,
did it
do
right with
that with them.
Evolution. Everyone involved in it became a top
Like,
guy.
that was
Yeah.
when you think about it, that's a long time ago now that happened.
long
It's
time
been-
ago.
Probably people have probably forgotten about that. So like, give Red Dragon, give like Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish the tag titles.
Yeah.
Give Roddy Strong the IC title.
And then have it burned down from the inside and
Like,
have
yeah.
them juggle that world title
It'd be
around.
so good.
Like no one would ever go, Bobby Fish is the next world champion.
Nah.
Like, but do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you tell people that's how it is, that's how it is.
Well, I
that's
like-
how wrestling works. If you
Yeah.
go, he's mint and no one can beat
Yeah.
him, they go,
All right.
oh, well, yeah, I mean, no one's beat him, so
Yeah.
he must be mint.
Yeah.
I
It's
had,
fucking not hard. It's not hard.
I did a thing on my Universe mode a while ago where I had Adam Cole as a champion, and I had like, I can't remember who it was. I had someone challenge every single one of the Undisputed Era, and the reason behind it was the person had to beat all three of like the Undisputed Era to get to Adam Cole for a title
okay.
shot.
It's mint.
And I was
I
like,
like
I'd be all over it, and then like the second to last one, I'd like you can use the running
Yeah,
ability,
yeah.
and I was like Kyle O'Reilly against whoever it was, and then I had like Bobby Fish running and like screw him over for the fight for the win. Like just do something like that.
Do
like,
something at
just build
Survivor
it,
Series
anything,
where
like-
it's like Adam Cole's on a throne throughout the entire night, and he's like, "I'll only wrestle someone who can beat all of these lot,"
yeah.
and then have like just random jobbers coming in and them just getting beat, and then have one guy who gets nearly there
Yeah.
and someone who gets all the way there. Then it'd be right good. It's a good idea.
So
It's
many
so much fun.
options.
But other than that, we had Double or Nothing,
Yeah.
which was
Yeah.
massive,
What a
which was huge,
way to start, I think, for AEW. It was-
absolutely ridiculous,
Really good.
Like, straight out the gate, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I mean that Jericho and Adam Cole winning their respective matches, and those guys were going to be the ones who went
Adam
off
Page.
that Adam Page, yeah. Adam Cole. Yeah, crazy. Like, I didn't think Jericho would be straight in that title picture.
No, I didn't either.
Because, like you say, too over to need a title, but the title needs him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it makes sense.
Yeah, they had to. Yeah.
And then Cody and
Dustin was amazing. Another
could be. I was thinking about it. Well. Match of the year for me, I think.
Yeah, I think it's definitely in there. I think it's definitely in the top 5.
It was
superb.
Really, really good.
Just the bloods, the everything.
It's because it had a genuinely good story behind it,
and it was simple.
Yeah.
Simple. It's like a good margarita pizza.
And people,
it's not hard.
And people didn't expect it to be Dustin Rhodes as well.
No. I think everyone expected, maybe he's going to do a twist on Goldust.
Yeah.
But he kind of did. He had the paint on.
He did half and half, didn't he?
But he's Dustin Rhodes.
But I don't even think a lot of people thought it would be him anyway.
No.
As Dustin Rhodes, who was whoever it would be, I thought they would bring someone out from New Japan maybe, or maybe like Jay White comes in and he has a match with Jay White or something like that. But for it to be this kind of two brothers battling it out, perfect
that shot of Dreams when they're both like covered in blood and he just gets him up and it's like so kind of almost misses it.
Yeah.
But like just
really good.
Amazing.
Everything from
camera work, everything.
The camera work from the little bit where everyone's chanting Dusty and they both point up and look up into the sky and stuff. From the way Brandy got involved and got kicked out by Earl.
Amazing.
Perfect. Probably a perfect match.
It was great. I loved it. And then the end of that show, when you thought it was all said and done, and he just fucking Moxley just comes out of nowhere, and it's like I felt like I was in like 1996. I was like, everyone's going mental and they're like fighting on the outside. That shot where he's on them poker chips and the lights just behind him, and you're like, this is a real thing. Yeah. This isn't like TNA. This is a real wrestling promotion. And I'll be honest, I've not watched as much of it as I wish I've done.
I fell off with it.
But mate, that show,
unbelievable. What I loved about they did kind of a bit of a behind the scenes thing where there's someone's filming him from behind.
Yeah.
And he's like walking, and the genuine shock on people's faces.
Mint.
Unbelievably good.
So good.
A solid month, 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
I think a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, absolutely. Ospreay won the best of the Super Juniors.
It did,
as well, by the way. But,
so that's the first 6 months. A solid start to the year, I think. Definitely solid start to the year. Definitely. We'll do July to December next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the meantime, staring at the lights on Instagram, the lights put on Twitter, rgm.press to read the first half of this article.
Don't read
from July onwards.
Wait until next week.
It's a read-along episode.
I mean, it's apparently a 24-minute read, so I mean, just cut that in half. 12 minutes,
we've spoke about it for an hour, so and that's only half of it. So, cool.
Wicked.
Right, see you next week.
See you later.